All right, welcome back. Let's see what we got today then. So we were looking at this in the room. We had a gap up, gap and go this morning, retesting the old H1 levels here where we broke down from. So this is the old top end of value area high from Friday. We just pushed into this block right here. All right, so this was old support, became new supply. Very, very simple. So far, finding sellers up there, and we have volume trapped up at these highs. So we're looking to see if this point of control can hold right now, if we have sustained bids over this point of control, or alternatively, if we start to roll over. Okay, so we are coming back down to the lower side now of the initial balance. All right, so if we move to a lower time frame for you. Okay, so we will set the initial balance shortly, and we are rolling down. So as you can see, the flow zones triggered the long this morning, okay, and we held above this lower time frame algo for a drive up into the higher time frame algo, which was confluence with supply, and we then got this pullback to the deep pullback zone. All right, and this is just under the midpoint of the initial balance right now. So that's what we're watching. This was a lovely short from the highs for this roll down, and now just need to be patient. Now what I would say is underneath we have a large gap. Okay, so we gapped up in terms of cash gap on the Qs. We have a large gap, so the Qs will start failing under 51.50 and 51. From there we can do a cash gap fill. We have a gap on Sunday as well, so a small new week opening gap as well is present in the market. So we're just watching this at the moment. Unfortunately, I had to walk the dog, but I did tell my team that we were looking for a potential short around the 700 mark, which is what we got. So 100-point failure from that top. And now just need to be patient and see how the market sets up, right? Because it hasn't really given a first bounce opportunity in here. So if we think about this as the trend to the upside, all right, or a channel, all right, we had strong buying continuation overnight, right, from the Asia-London session. This is the old base where we broke out of, so we have this nice cup extension through it. So we'd need to see price hold sort of this region here, 645 down to 566, big region, of course, for any potential further upside. All right, failure through this, if we go back down to the high time frame, all right, failure through this, we'll see a potential flush of this point here, the 571. All right, so coming into VWAP now, failure under there, we can look for this area of consolidation here to hold, all right, that we printed into Friday close. And if they really want to get heavy, they will attack the Asia low and the overnight low, and this gap here, this new week opening gap. So I can mark this out for you right here. Okay, so that was left open. For now, on the higher time frame or the medium time frame, we're bullish for this move up until it takes out this pivot point here. But as you can see, lower time frame is very much rolling over right now. Today will require some patience. When we have gaps up that big and we gap and go and we drive, it will require some patience. On top of that, we have Apple with their event coming at 1 o'clock market time. Historically, this is normally bullish for the market. Apple is sluggish today. If you look at the Mag 7, it's down almost 2%. Is that right, or is it 2 points? Hang on, I might have had that wrong. Let's get that right, because there's a big difference, more likely to be 2 points. Yeah, so it's down 2 points, almost 1%. Everything else is pretty much up other than Google, which is pretty much flat. So you've got Tesla up 4%, Nvidia 2.2%, Meta up 1.5%, Google flat, Amazon up 1.6%, Microsoft up 0.5%, and Apple down 1%. So a little bit weakness in Apple coming into this event. They are launching their new iPhone. I think it's the 16. So there'll be lots of eyes on that for a reaction. And as I said, just requires some patience as we are building liquidity. The reason we are building liquidity is we are stuck between the higher time frame and the lower time frame algo, right? So the higher time frame algo here, go back onto wire chart. Higher time frame algo here will want to create pressure down to the lower time frame algo, which we are at now, right? So this zone here is building liquidity for the next move, and it's up to us to dissect what that next move is. So if we get bearish continuation and the flow zones start to create pressure underneath the lower time frame algo, potentially we can come down to those lower Asia and London levels and look for downside pressure to that gap. All the time this lower time frame algo is holding, it is going to try and rotate, all right, from the lower algo to the higher time frame, to the lower time frame to the higher time frame, until it has built enough liquidity for a move like this or a move like this. Very, very simple, guys. As I talked about on Friday, trading is about patience more than anything. So if we were going to drive up for a failure lower high on the lower time frame, we have a large imbalance here now. All right, so we would be looking for something like this, and a take out this low and a return in and further continuation. But unfortunately, I missed this move. I was back just a tiny bit too late while I was walking the dog. Have any of you taken trades today? If so, what did you take? What are your targets? Did you make sure you traded a proper setup, or were you just joining and hammering that button without thinking? All these things matter. Got to have proper setups. So see if there's weakness here into this lower time frame algo and of course the VWAP underneath. We've now set the initial balance. As you will see, it's printing the initial balance. In fact, we can make this a bit brighter so it's a bit easier. So we are really starting to get heavy here. Let's do it like this. And now initial balance rules apply. All right, so continuation will be outside of these initial balances. Rotation will be inside the initial balance. So if we have a failure to stay heavy outside, we will come back inside the initial balance and it will look to attack back to the highs. But so far, a very, very good sell off that back test of the 700s, which is what we talked about in the community this morning. It was the only trade I was really interested in. Tape looking very, very heavy here. No liquidity on the upside other than a big block of 135 contracts all the way up at 800. Coop, did you get that failure into 700 or you didn't get that? So we're coming down into the lower range of the M15 and also the last few hours. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So on a 4-hour candle, we will be repricing right now, because this is a new 4-hour candle. It's the first 30 minutes in a new 4-hour candle, and the last 4-hour candle low would have been around 65. So we're just repricing that 4-hour candle right now. Yeah, same as me, just a little too busy to get into it. It was a nice trade though, offered a lot. Very quick though. Not much of a retest to get short there. Once that channel snapped, that was it. Okay, so London low will be into 44. Next target here really for liquidity will be 66, then into 44. There is a base at 66 that we made overnight into that 830 print, that 830 pre-market open. Which is what we were just talking about on the Qs. That'd be the same level as that 51.45, 51.50 psychological level. Under that you have a gap, all right? You have a large gap. 50.28 will be the close of the print on Friday, and that after hours low is way down at 445 or 96, 446, you might as well call it, if the Qs are going to stay heavy. All right, so I'm watching those cash gaps on the Qs. All right, so ES just into VWAP here now. No buys showing up. Absolutely no reason to be thinking about long in this market currently, okay? We have good directional momentum, lower time frame. Look, lower time frame, bearish, higher time frame, currently bearish, all right? So you don't need to be picking bottoms. Just remain patient. Okay, if we're gonna really put in a bottom for some reason, it will use the liquidity and you'll be able to join a trend like this back to the upside once it becomes clear. If you pick bottoms, you are just gonna keep picking bottoms while it trends down, all right, and get yourself stuck. So you need to be very patient here. Zoom out and look at the dailies, look at the weekly, you will see we are just in an inside bar currently. We're printing inside Friday's bar, we're printing inside the previous week. So this is a drive up to reprice, which has now failed. That drive up, by the way, also came very close to the 5-day SMA. So if you've done my course, you will know that once we extend to the outside Bollinger Band, we often like to check the 5-day SMA to see if we're going to get continuation, which is pretty much what we got to do today. We just missed it. It was a little bit higher up, but there or thereabouts. That's what the market's looking to do. It's looking to backtest supply, backtest trend indicators to see if there's further continuation. If the 5-day starts to catch up over the next few sessions and the lower Bollinger Band starts to point down, we can have further continuation to the downside. So do not fight this. All right, Friday was a very strong sell signal. This morning and overnight was just a reprice to let smart money start to get short for this play here. All right, so from here we're thinking about a potential retest. All right, we're thinking about, can we retest into these areas on the H1? All right, from here, right, is this then just a pullback H1 for continuation break of structure lower, or do we put in some form of W or base around here into 500 to 400? All right, those are the areas of interest in the H1. Can it put in a W or some type of bullish pattern that says, hey, we're not going low, we're not ready yet? But from here, we're looking at rotation, all right, from the low to supply, from supply back towards demand, all right? So the demand structure is effectively here, all right? And under that, I'm expecting weakness. So I preach it all the time. Trading really requires a huge amount of patience. All right, you're looking to join and follow the tails of the whales. You're not looking to fight them. I'll probably be here for another 90 minutes and then I'll call it a day today. Likely that I missed the best move. Let me close this window. The sun's just starting to come up here in Los Angeles, so very hot already on that dog walk. Expecting high 90s again today. It's absolutely roasting. We've had a heat wave. I'm lucky that I live by the beach, so I get a little bit of relief on that. Okay, so nothing of interest to me until we come back up and show a reason to reject. That can be on the H1, it might be on this M15, unless we fail and get heavy underneath. But you notice how we're inside this London session, and we are in this M15 block right here. All right, where we found buyers earlier at 8:30 and extended out of it. So we're starting to wash that block now. Flow zones are following us down. All right, so if I go down to a lower time frame here, you will see they are chasing us down here. All right, we are in a sell signal, and we are in trend bearish on all market conditions. All right, more sellers coming into the tape here. There's absolutely no bids on this tape right now. Nothing sat on the book of any interest. Nvidia starting to show some weakness here. It's at 104. If it keeps rejecting 105, it's likely to come back. I think those lows on Friday were around 101, 102. And really that magnet is the 100 level. If Nvidia gets anywhere near that, you can expect the Qs to really start to roll over. All right, so QQQ now testing its pre-market low. A snap of this will put us into the gap. All right, so if you can't see that on the NQ, use a side monitor and check the ETFs, all right? And it will show you where that pre-market low is and that close on Friday. All right, so it can snap here. There is a gap here that it can go and fill if it wants. VIX reclaiming 2050. It's going to make a move to test 2080s. Through that, there is a gap at, into sort of 21 area and another gap above that 2140s. Okay, so VIX is bouncing off its IB low right now, and it is on a charge to the upside. So all the time VIX is moving up and tech is moving down, we will have weakness in the market. Dixie maintaining its base up here at 101,600, looking to make a flag on the M10 for a potential breakout. If it's able to do that, again, that is likely to add pressure on the market. So we just tagged there the London low on the NQ. For now, we are in a trend down day. We are printing outside of the initial balance low. The initial balance low is this purple area here, which is exactly the same place as we have the lower time frame algo as we printed a sell signal on the M2. Again, if I go to an M1, it would have printed these earlier. Right, your sell was up here as we came through the deep pullback, and we have everything stacked up here together. So this is a big point of interest here. Lower time frame algo, initial balance low, and our flow zone indicator. And you also have VWAP. So potentially the market might want to come and back test that. If there is a lack of short momentum in the market, all right, we will likely build some form of liquidity, all right, some continuation pattern like this for the market to present some structure for a continuation lower. All right, so into here, which is why you don't chase. So your trend right now is very steep. Right, and ideally will offer some form of pullback. If it reclaims that IB low, then this will be considered a failed auction, all right? And you will be looking for something like this back to the IB high. Remember, above this area here, we will be in liquidity build stage. That liquidity build stage is from this higher time frame algo to this lower time frame algo. So in here, you are going to build liquidity. Outside of it, it can trend. And I still have long COVID. Will not go away. So micro bear flag here on an M1, potentially for a breakdown. Still weak against those flow zones. There is an imbalance there on the M1, which it repriced and it might be willing to fail. If it flips this imbalance, then potentially you might get a micro inverse head and shoulders, right? So here's the imbalance in these candles here. So if you flip that, maybe it will use this liquidity for the first move up and then reprice this, which is the area of interest that I'm looking at, both directions right now. I'm not interested in anything until we get there, frankly. For now, you must stick with downside momentum. All right, so if you're a continuation player, you can wait for the break of this, but just remember where you are on the higher time frames. Just going to grab a water here and I'll be back. So it looks like that bear flag playing out. So just stick with the momentum until it proves otherwise. Video now, 104 test, Meta 505 test, Google 150-50-ish. Everything's sat at pretty key levels, very, very similar to Friday when it comes to tech. It's very close to key levels. Bonds are up a little bit. VIX coming in to test that underside of where we broke down, all right? Very near the IB high now, which was the opening print. Qs still have that gap underneath if it wants to fail. We're seeing a little bit more action now on the tape. So there is a 230 lot up at 750, 130 lot up at 800. Which just feels like that's them trying to hope and drag the market higher. There's no reason to think it has the ability to go up there right now. Not right now. So Q's snapping that pre-market low here. Very nice. 540, we have an M15 wick test down into sort of 30, 25s. Okay, if we think about previous day low into current day high, the 50% pullback will be to 29, which is what we're coming into right now. So far tagged, or near enough tagged, that 50% pullback from the previous day low to Monday's high. Okay, if you look at an M5, we are in a very, very strong move down. Expect some form of bounce and relief at some point, even if it's just for a continuation lower. All right, so any bounce here, very much like Friday, is a counter trend relief bounce. So potentially a retest of that initial balance area would be nice, but for now, likely just to test like M5 little blocks, fair value gaps, flow zones, etc., for continuation. We are under current day value area low when it comes to volume. So if it wants to rotate all the way down to Friday's value area low, we will be looking at 460, which is in that H1 block that I talked about. All right, so that is an area and around there where I'm interested how price reacts. Does it look to put in a bullish pattern in and around those areas? Really, I would like to see some form like this here, and then something like this to come and sweep these lows, and then potentially continuation. If it doesn't do that, again, I'll be waiting to see if we reprice this and start to reclaim and grind all the way back up. But flow zones are very, very strong today. At the moment, we held them all morning, okay, all the way up into the initial balance high, into the high time frame algo, and then we flipped them. And this area here, in case you missed it, was a back test of Friday's levels. All right, it was a back test of this breakdown level on the H1. All right, so that's the area once we break. Think about this on higher time frame. This is your break of structure. Right, after the break of structure, we expect the pullback to where? To where we broke down from. We retested old demand, became supply, and we flushed. Okay, so from here we are expecting continuation lower. If we're going to continue to trend on the H1, we expect these levels down here to be taken out. I've marked this level here because this was an area of consolidation on Friday. So potentially, if we are looking to hold that on a higher time frame, it might do something like this. Right, so currently from this gray box to the blue box is the range that I'm interested in potentially participating in. As you can see now, we've broken that channel and we are starting to make a push back to the upside. Okay, so when you're looking for shorts here, you need to be following when momentum is in your direction, all right? You do not want to be just pumping this, add short, because if it does a V bottom or it wants to do an inverse head and shoulders, you will get stuck, all right? So you need to let it retrace into areas of interest and then reject. So potentially this block could be considered a flip zone, which is what it's currently rejecting right now. So if we push up and reject that, yes, continuation, but there are imbalances to the upside and there is still the IB low. If we start to make a reason to go lower, we can join it. If we start to put in consolidation here, like Friday, a tapering channel, I'm not interested in shorting near the lows. Right, we've already done a very nice move from 720 effectively down to 530, almost 200 points, 190 points. So expect some relief. It is as simple as that. It's how the market works, right? We move in waves. What time frame was your grey and blue box drawn on? Yeah, the H1, buddy. So the blue box is just the consolidation open and closes into the close print on Friday, all right? So not the after hours flush that we got, but the actual consolidation into 4 o'clock. And the grey box was where we broke down from. So effectively like a flip zone, which was also Friday. It was really the overnight session. But once we broke that, effectively London Asia range on Friday is where we got that big flush candle. So if you just zoom out on an H1, you'll see it. Today is the last day of the 50% sale on Fast Track Trader or Fast Track Trading. If anyone that wants to do it, I did a video yesterday on my thoughts on it. I posted it in the room probably about a month ago, and I wanted to do some due diligence to make sure people are getting paid and it's legit before I did a public video, and it is. So I know lots of guys who are currently getting paid out bi-weekly or bi-monthly, so every 2 weeks taking a payout. You can get paid out in your first 5 days if you hit 5 winners in a row and you get past your threshold, but there is a 50% sale. I think it ends at midnight today Eastern time. For anyone interested, go and check out the video I posted last night, and there is a link underneath this, I think. Should be anyway. But if not, yeah, just check out the video posted last night. It tells you everything you need to know about Fast Track Trader. Right, so here is the push up we talked about. Okay, so some relief here into the flow zone Momo cloud. All right, can it get into this area here? So this area, VWAP, IB low, deep pullback, and the lower time frame algo. All right, there's lots of reasons for it to potentially draw back up here. So this is why you don't add short early. All right, we are starting to see a curl here. Right, this is starting to curl, and if you started getting short, you are already in so much pressure and you are oversized. You have to wait for the market to finish, if you're looking for a short, finish the squeeze and show you that it's ready to move down. Simple as that. So we are going to assume this is building liquidity for the move down. We will start to think the other way when the flow zones start to flip and when we reclaim, or if we reclaim, the initial balance low. Until that point, this is building liquidity for a continuation lower. That's what I'm going to assume because it's what the market is telling me. $850 currently on the book. He's looking to get filled as a buyer or potentially for covers. Same. Q's trying to rotate back inside that low that it put in pre-market. And we've got that liquidity algorithm back on NQ, which is flashing both sides now. So it's flashing sort of 45.50s and 65.70s. All right, so here we go. Here's the continuation. Took this short here for the breakdown, moving my stop aggressively with it, and beautiful. Taking partial. I'm looking for a break of structure now of this low. There we go. Taking another partial. Very, very nice. So it's a 30-point trade already. This is why you wait, guys. You just wait for the signal, all right? It showed you right here. Really, really nice. Holding on to runner now. Stop at break even. Let's see if we can get a nice drive down. Now, might want to reprice this last candle because that happened very, very aggressively. They came in and absolutely slapped it. Looking good. I'm watching the tape here. Delta very, very heavy. Expecting a wash here, but it needs to take out that low. Really nice. Looking for extension through this low now. Don't want to see buyers come in into this 20. Very nice. Pressure through 20, please, would be great. They're flashing the bid now under 15. Here we go, through 20s. Taking another partial for that break of structure. Now we can think about potentially here Asia low and the H1 block that we talked about. All right, so we are into some volume on the H1. If you look at the H1, these were the old highs that we put in before that big flush on Friday into close or after the close. So they are trying to step in here and hold these points. All right, these are points of interest. So this is why we always take partial off on these breaks of structure. We lock in our gains, we hold our runner, we wait and see if this wants further continuation, because if not, if the buyers are going to step in, now we have significant liquidity for something like this, all right? But we are going to assume trend down day until it shows us. We do not guess. This is why we followed it short, all right? We're not looking to pick bottoms. We're looking to trade the momentum, and very, very clearly, all right, it is telling you bearish. So follow that momentum, follow the pressure of where the big players are playing. Don't try and bet against them and get stuck. So my entry here was all the way up at 56. So the top of that flush candle on the H1 is where I entered. And I took partials all the way down into 16 is my best cover there. I'm just holding a couple now. So you're now thinking about the same kind of thing. All right, can we build a new structure for continuation lower? We can get rid of this. All right, we have an imbalance here in this candle. So can we test it, reject, and continue lower? Or are we going to start to reclaim? Hopefully some of you got that with me. We were prepared for it. We talked about it. Flow zones, and we were looking for the continuation once we broke the structure. Really simple. Entry here, flush, start to cover. All right, doesn't need to be more complicated than that. and stopping out here on the runner. Okay, so as you can see there, $465 on that single move. So we're still assuming the same thing. We are still looking for continuation. Maybe it wants to back test where we failed from. We're not thinking long until we have a clear change of character to the upside. This right now is just repricing this big flush candle, all right? If we start to flip that, then we can think about a long continuation, long reversal or mean reversion type pattern. But until that point, we are going to stick with the trend. That is how you must trade. There's no reason even now to be thinking about a long. Okay, we have not even come into demand. We haven't tested the old point of control. There is no bullish pattern in front of me. All I'm seeing is bearish continuation, all right? Flags for bearish continuation. That's all we're doing. This is building liquidity for this move down. The only time that that will change is if we flip this liquidity and we are above it. If it traps enough shorts down here, then we can think about the long. Until then, please stick with it. Please, please, please don't get in the habit of picking bottoms like so many people on YouTube tend to do. John, yeah, I'm thinking about doing this more regularly, probably after the initial balance is set. So I want to keep the room clear for the first hour, hour and a half, trade with you guys, tell you what I'm looking at so that you've got some nice edge. And then maybe I'll start doing this if it's good value. I know a couple people in the room had asked me to do this. Oh, thank you, John. Appreciate that. Yeah, mate. Hopefully, mate. Hopefully. We'll see. I don't think there's many YouTubers who actually calling stuff out before it happens and telling you what to do or what not to do and when to do it. A lot of hindsight and a lot of showing winners without calling them. So hopefully, as long as I can provide good education. So we're looking for the same potential thing here, all right? Same potential thing. You're looking to follow momentum to the downside. Yeah, exactly. Looking to see momentum to the downside, all right? If we're continuing, we're looking to take out this low, all right? So your breaker structure will be here, all right? So you're looking for good risk reward for a potential flush of this low, and you must be taking partials into this low, all right? That's how the market works. And then continuation, we can think about this. This is previous day close down here, and this is previous day low. So this is Friday and weekly close because it's the close of Friday. No worries, no worries. And great to see you in the room. I hope that course is starting to help. I know it's quite dense and a lot to get through, all right? If, like I talked about, if we're going to reclaim, then we're going to use this liquidity where shorts are getting trapped, which is why we are looking for continuation and partials. You have to be careful trading these into low of day like we are, but we are in trend low. We are underneath the initial balance. What we need to be cautious of when we are trading this is potential tapering. This is so similar to Friday for anyone that traded with me in that Friday session. If we start to taper, then we can think about how many shorts might get stuck down here for that return back to initial balance and then maybe for a return back inside. I really don't want to make this chart too messy for you guys, but I think sometimes trend lines are the easiest way to explain this. All right, so here is the repricing. No failure yet of potential bear flag, possibly back test of this. Let's just check a fib actually. Yeah, so we're reclaiming that 50% from previous day low to current day high. M15 block, like we talked about, would be sort of 67-ish. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, this level here. All right, this block here where we broke down from, which we've rejected once already. So it's not a fresh block. So you can see how we're repricing that whole wave when we think about how the market's moving. All right, it's moved like this. Okay, nothing bullish yet until we are above this, and really the best bullish move will come above this section. Till then, we are thinking about lower prices, and we just need good entries to get those lower prices. So you might want to dial down to a lower time frame. I like the 2 minute, it's less choppy, but you have to trade what you trade. Some people will just trade off the blocks on the 15-minute, which is also what I look at a lot. So if you trade in our room, you'll know Ryan loves using the M5, M15 blocks as his pretty much only entries from those blocks, and then he's using flow zones and EMAs for trigger points. So this is a retest of London low currently. Still in bearish momentum. You see how the flow zones are rejecting bearish momentum now. This is key now. Is there a good risk reward here for a breakdown through this break of structure? Because that's what the market wants to do. Selling pressure coming in here. Can they absorb it, or are we going to flush that break of structure? Which it looks like we are looking to do. Starting to get heavier and heavier. No buyers on the tape. Next level is 500 psych. Here we go. Reflush here. So if you took that, should be thinking about a partial on an aggressive move, moving your stop to break even, especially if you are trading with someone like Apex. Get that stop break even, take your partials. Do not oversize, do not overhold. Take your partials, let the runners work. You're now looking for a break of structure and a snap of this 500 psych level. Right, so everything we just talked about again, look, rinse and repeat, bear flag, breakdown, bear flag, breakdown, looking for a break of structure of here now for continuation. If it fails to break that structure, that will be your failure for a breakout. That is when people get trapped, all right? Because if we don't break this and shorts start chasing at the lows here, and it holds it, those shorts are going to be forced to cover, buyers are going to come back in, and then we might get a squeeze back up. So this is why you take the continuation play, all right, and then you start to cover and you move your stop. Break even, so you'll risk off. You can relax now, you can wait and let it play out for you. All right, so they are flashing 505, you have 530 upside, where people are looking to get filled for a sell. Now they're flashing 500. Expect the market really to come and take this 500 out if they continue to flash down there, because they are looking to get filled down there into that psychological level, which is under your break of structure. So if you get that point, you must be taking a partial. If you see me looking down, it's just because my screen here is where bookmap is. Here we go. Coming into that low now, looking for a sweep. Still expect this to run lower. There's no reason yet for me to think buyers are coming in and taking control here. ES doing exactly the same thing. Q's coming down into that gap that we talked about. So we are at Friday's close on the Qs, all right? That's why we're having a little bit of buyers coming in this area. If you look at the close on the QQQ on Friday, this is where it is. So we've now filled the cash gap, all right? Which is why I always talk about that cash gap. It is really, really important. The close on the indexes is all the way down here, all right? So if we're going to do an an NQ close, it's going to be down to 58. But the QQQ, which is where most of the volume is traded, is where the options chain is trading, that is at that Friday close. Now we're starting to look weak, should get a break of structure here and a flush. Very nice. Where are we tapping? This tapering channel, all right? It's just an estimate of the tapering. It's basically a parallel to this. So through this, we can come and attack this level here. We can think about, if we're going to get really heavy, this gray box down here, okay? That gray box is the new week opening gap. It's the gap between Friday's close and Sunday's open. So this is why we take partials on breaks of structure, all right? This is why we take partials on breaks of structure. Hopefully some of you got that trade. So we're now 2 for 2 since we've been live today, and 3 for 3 if you were in my room with me. Very nice. Don't need to make it more complicated, guys, than it is. Just trade the momentum. If you start to trust trade momentum, you will be profitable more often than not. Even if you're a little rough with your entry and exit, you are following the weight of the market, and it's way, way easier to trade that way. Most traders fail because they try and pick tops and bottoms. Promise you, I was one of those guys for many, many years, which is exactly why I developed this system. Right, because it stops me betting against it. Simple as that. I need something in front of me screaming at me. Oh, you're welcome, Remus. No problem at all. If you want to learn more, I have a 20-hour course, and it comes with this indicator and a Discord room. It's on sale. If you're watching YouTube, use code YouTube. The link's underneath. It's a one-time fee of $3.99. There are guys in chat right now who are in that room, and I'm sure they'll tell you how valuable it is. I'm not a bullshitter. I'm not trying to take your money and run. All right, I teach proper price action techniques, how you should be trading. So same thing now. The break of structure now is down here, okay? If we think about this trend, right, this is what we're doing. All right, so we're going to assume lower until it takes out this pivot here, okay? But you do not want to be shorting down here. This is how you get in trouble, because the market can squeeze up before it does it. So don't be looking to short lows. And don't just add all the way up as well, all right? So you wait for it to drive up, wait for it to create a new bear flag or a micro head and shoulders, whatever it wants to do. So it might do something like this. Okay, and then you can think about short here, risking this, for example. So if you peep over now at the VIX, all right, if you joined this stream earlier, we're talking about the VIX getting through that IB high, getting through that first gap. It's now through that gap. So the VIX is coming into 2120. If the VIX can pop through 2140, all right, it has a gap fill potential all the way up to 22, all right? So we are holding price on the VIX. If we can curl here and expand on the VIX, the market will move lower. It will find sell pressure on the market, and its potential targets for those joining a little bit later will be into these higher time frame levels, all right? Where we consolidated on Friday, this old point of control on Friday, the Asia low that we've had overnight, all these levels, this new week opening gap, these levels are draws on liquidity. It's where price might want to come to, not will, might want to come. Can always change. The market is ever evolving. No one is going to be right all the time. You have to be adapting with the market, which is why I preach, you know, take your partial on the break of structure, move the stop break even, let it work. So if you took this breakdown all right, and you took your partial into this, and you can be risk-free now, can't you? You can let those 1 or 2 contracts go, let them work for you. Let them try and really build your profit up on the day by just letting it follow the momentum. Even trading small, guys, you can make a huge amount of money, right? 2 or 3 micros on these moves are paying you lots and lots of money, right? If you took this first short breakdown at 67, right, that's 70 points, right? And if you took 2 of those and locked in and then are holding the runner, and if this runner ends up coming down to this gap, right, it's a monster moves, 200-point move on that runner that will offer you another $400 profit on 1 micro. You do not need to be trading big size right now. Cannot get that through enough, especially if you're trading multiple accounts. All right, $200 a day over 20 accounts, that will bank you 1 million profit a year. All right, don't get fixed in to trying to oversize. It's the easiest way to blow up. Small base hits, let them work for you. I know it's not exciting. I know this channel probably won't grow like following the guys who are trading 15 lots, but I won't get you stuck, and I won't, you know, encourage you to blow up and oversize. I'll do the opposite. I'd rather have a small channel that provides really good information. Any questions, guys, from the people that are watching? Anything that struggling to understand or need help with? So again, here is the kind of channel we are looking at currently. Something like this, all right, but it might want to reprice these imbalances here. And you can always think about fib, all right? You don't need to do fibs all the way on the dailies. You can think about fibs like this. All right, so a flag tends to, if you do my course, you will know this, tends to reject in these 30 to 38s for continuation. Deeper pullbacks are into golden zones. All right, so these are the areas we're always looking at. Those trading on Apex, I finally have a new code. So FZT for Flow Zone Trader. I do make small commissions from you if you use my code. It is appreciated because I make absolutely no money from this YouTube. So it's all done in love. All right, so see how we are holding this channel right now. We are definitely tapering, but there is no reason to get long. Absolutely no reason to get long till we start to take out these pivots. So you should be looking for trend continuation shorts or be hands off. Cash is a position. If you've made your money today, all right, if you took either of these 2 trades, or if you're one of the guys in the room and you managed to get that 700 push we talked about into the high time frame algo, and you've made your money, you don't need to place another trade, all right? Put that money in the bank, wait for tomorrow. The best setups this week will be coming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all right? I am looking for a weekly model, all right? Those of you who have done the course and trade in the room will know what I'm talking about. I'm looking for a weekly model because there is so much news coming and important data to get it. And because last week was a 4-day week, this week is very high probability to give us a very strong weekly model. Now, as Coop pointed out earlier in the day, we are in the last week of trading before we start to get into rollover. So this will be the last week of really good liquidity. I do not like trading rollover. My stats do start to diminish by about 10% often during rollover. So something to be aware of. But we should have really, really nice trends coming into Q4 now, because market makers are back, liquidity is back, everyone's back from their holidays. So here we go. Here's the first reprice of this level. of this imbalance right here, where we had that flush candle, right? So this is the first time coming back, attacking the flow zones. Now, if we start to flip this and we start to get through this level here, then potentially we will see that tapering, right? It's very, very early still, but you would need to see something like this, and we would be attacking these levels here until we get above the IB low, and then we can think about a full repricing structure for a range rotation. But until then, respect the channel, respect structure. So lower time frame is trying to move out of bearish, right? The easiest places for it to attack will be here. So we missed those H1 levels just. I mean, we came into the wicks, but we didn't come into any of the bodies. We were looking for 482. And the point of control is 63, right, 463. So we haven't really fulfilled that. But like I kept saying, if you look at the QQQ, we are holding Friday close. So equivalently of what I was looking at in the NQ, we are actually doing in the QQQ. So if you look at the QQQ right now, I can bring it up if needed. Let's do it on another screen so it's a bit cleaner. Let's get rid of all these and go to 10-minute. Okay, so on the QQQ, hopefully you guys can see this. This area here, all right, that's where we closed and found consolidation on Friday, right here. So notice the market sold off in the after hours, all right? This is Friday after hours. We were talking about this sell-off on Friday if you're in the stream, and it didn't come, but it did come in the after hours. But settlement is in this box. This is the cash position of all the hedge funds and the banks. We had a gap up, gap and go this morning, extension. Now we have filled that cash gap, all right? So anyone in here, all right, who was a buyer, they are going to try and hold this market up from here. And anyone who was short from here and got squeezed out, they are now break even in here. So this is a big area of interest, right? This is why I look at the QQQs. Now, if we go back to the NQ and I go to a higher time frame, right, that's the same thing I was looking at, but I was looking for it here in the NQ, in this blue box on the H1. All right, so same kind of setup, but it just happened to hold and present itself better in the Qs because that's where the cash is. Hope that makes sense. There is a video on my YouTube on gaps and cash gaps. It's one of the least watched videos, and it's probably one of the most important ones. Okay, so we have flipped that imbalance now. All right, and we are starting to print above the flow zone. So these will start to flip soon if it contains momentum. If we go to a 1 minute, it's probably going to flip. Oh, we're on a 1 minute. Okay. All right, so on a 2 minute still downward pressure, this is your change of character up here because this is the high that created a new. So if we sustain bids above this, then we're going to attack this liquidity here at 80 and all this liquidity here into 90, and you've got VWAP up there and the lower time frame algo and the IB low. But we are not through that for a change of character yet, okay? So you'll see the lower time frame is telling you it's bullish. Now for me, it's not truly bullish till this flips into blue. The higher time frame is bearish, and that will change once we start to flip these. Right, so a deep pullback here, a squeeze pullback, could just be extension into this and fail. All right, so you have to be aware of those. Just going to leave it on 2-minute candles right now because it's a little less busy, so it's a bit easier for you to see. Notice how this tapering is starting to squeeze now, which is why we don't short the lows. Has it given you an entry for a bearish move on this push? No, it has not. It's not giving you that entry for breakdown. It's done the opposite, which is why we say we don't short all the way up. We wait for momentum to show that it wants to give us an entry. Right now, we are in a squeeze. So here is a change of character if it can close outside this. Okay, and it can potentially drive up now. So we have got that tapering channel, and we are starting to do part 1 of this, which is like this. Part 2 would be something like that, and part 3 would be above the IB low. All right, so you have shorts covering now. So any short that got in late, like we talked about, the opposite of what we talked about, we said we won't be shorting the lows. Anyone who chased the breakdown short here, right, is getting squeezed, and they probably added and added and added, and now they're starting to get stopped out, which is why we're getting bigger momentum candles to the upside. So a squeeze right now will be into these areas, okay? So you would want pullbacks really to hold 50 down to 30s right now. If you're looking long, if you're looking for that counter trend long, all right, and you're willing to have a shot, you will need something like this. Biggest seller on the tape right now is up at 750. All right, so that would be a reprice of the whole initial balance. Zoom out onto an M5 and have a look at the W pattern it is just put in. Put a line chart in, have a look. M5, if it reclaims and can hold these old breakdown levels, right? These levels here, this is your liquidity that it needs to break down from. If it reclaims this, we can rotate up. An M5 line chart will provide that for you. I can give you another example to show you what I'm talking about. All right. Look, very, very simple. If you're thinking about structure, right, we had a huge momentum move to the downside. This here is a bullish pattern. All right, this is your first potential bullish pattern. This is a W. And with a W, we need to get above and extend. And then, oh, sorry, dodgy mouse. We need to get above this level and start to extend. All right, so this here becomes key. So if you struggle to see patterns, use a line chart on a side monitor. All right, use a line chart. It will show you the open and closes. It will make the patterns very, very clear for you. So here you go. Here is the drive now. So you've got a breakout of this tapering channel, and we are driving up into the lower time frame algo, the VWAP, the deep pullback, and the IB low, everything together here. So do sellers come in here, or do we reclaim and just start to squeeze upside to reprice this huge move down? All right, very, very simple. So lower time frame conditions now are bullish, higher time frames are bearish. And we are about to go into a liquidity build zone in the higher time frame, which will be back between the high time frame algo and the lower time frame algo. So notice on that push up into the lower time frame algo and VWAP, we have some sellers, or more likely we have some buyers taking some profits because they know that this is a counter trend move. So ideally, we get a pullback long here for bulls, or we get a rollover back underneath for shorts. I don't really love chasing these squeeze plays, but it is looking very, very good. You would have had a buy signal on a 1 minute if you're using my flow zones. Right here, there you go, buy signal for that squeeze up. Right, but you don't need to take that. Now it's printed a buy signal. Really, you should be waiting for a pullback. Right, if you want to get this indicator, you have to do my course. All right, the indicator comes free when you do the course and join the room. The reason for that is it's an advanced indicator. It takes a lot of knowledge to understand what we're looking at, where structure is, and so forth. I don't want people buying the indicator and then just trying to take it as buy and sell conditions all the time. It will get you in trouble. You have to understand how the market moves and works. So they're adding to that 750 block now. So 8750, 230 orders on the book. And they will try and use that to draw liquidity to the upside. Now, like I said, that 750 is going to be a reprice above the IB high, and it's probably near the 5-day, which is up here. So between the two. If you look at an H1 candle now, we are coming into a very key level. All right, flip to an H1. H1 is coming back to test the open, all right, of this bar here. And the point of control from today is up at 620 or 616. So we are testing. We did a push up this morning, a huge fail. This is a back test, all right? So lots of reasons to think shorts are going to come in here into these same levels. They're all lining up, the IB low, the lower time frame, the VWAP, and this H1 level and point of control. Now, if we start to reclaim that, we can think about potential upside and a shift in momentum within the intraday chart. I know there's lots of talking here, guys, that might sound like a lot of jargon, so please, if I'm going too fast, in the chat. Live streaming's very new to me. This is only my second live stream. Bull's very much in control of this squeeze right now. We've taken all the liquidity, so all these stops will get run. You'll see them more on a 1 minute. We have, actually there's one left, one block left at 98, so you might as well call it as 600. So they might want to drive into that first. Which would basically be a full reprice on the H1. So back to the previous open of 2 candles ago. So the H1 candle at 9 AM, we are looking to reprice that candle. So we're at the low of that candle. Can we reprice into the open of that candle? Can we reprice into the point of control on the day? And what kind of reaction do we get at those levels? That's what's important now. So I'm going to clean up this chart for you. Okay, so we are in bullish momentum right now, lower time frame. And it's very, very steep. That's a good way of knowing it's a squeeze when it's steep like that. So a reprice down here would be great. All right, and I would then just move the trend line to something like this, which is a more natural position. But it does not have to do it. And the more it squeezes, the less interested in it I am. Needs to do a pullback, all right? Something into these kind of levels here, all right? And this or this, something where we can back test, and then I need to see a bullish pattern in that back test. So the same rules will apply that we use to the upside. Yeah, I'm going to try and, if I'm feeling good, Jen, I'm going to try and live stream most days, if not every day from now on. It won't be at the open though. It was likely to be half an hour after the open. So here we go. This is why you don't buy the highs. So we're coming back into the momentum cloud. So now you're thinking about the same thing. Now, can we build bullish structure, right? Can we build bullish structure? Let it prove itself to you. So this right now has come back into that dip that we talked about. All right, these levels here that we broke out from, it's holding it. It's holding the flow zones now, and it might create a flag for upside pressure. All right, upside pressure. If we roll over, there are prices to reprice down here. You also have to think about the time. You've only got 20 minutes into lunch. We have repriced that H1 so far. It is looking good. Holding those flow zones, holding VWAP, but it's right at that lower time frame algo. All right, lots of things here. Really nice. So ideally, the best plays on these will be 2-leg pullbacks or 2-try pullbacks, which hold and trap sellers in for moves up. But right now, bulls are in complete control of this squeeze. We have definitely completed the tapering. Would you prefer that I remove the labels on all these so it's easier to see? Would that be better? Or do you like seeing the labels so that you know what each line is? So that psychological level of 600. And check from high of day to low of day. We are coming into that 50% mark. Through that, we can really start to drive. So this flag is holding for now. I would have preferred a 2-leg, but we don't always get what we want. The market will do what we want. Nice pullback, hold, extension now. No worries, Ryan. All right, so now we are attacking that IB low. So if you got long there, you must be taking a partial. We took a break of structure, partial out into the IB low. If we reclaim the IB low, we can then think about a full rotation, okay? So potentially back up to the IB high. It might sound ridiculous, but it's what the market might want to do. Very, very nice here. Okay, so hopefully some of you took that flag for that quick squeeze. Even that flag paid you from 91 to 09, so almost 20 points. Take a partial, move your stop break even, wait for another setup. Okay, you are counter trend here against the higher time frame. We are in a liquidity build, and really we're still very, very bearish on a higher time frame. So you're counter trend, you see money, you take money, you lock it in, you move your stop break even, and you try and let it work. Because if you're break even and we get a giant squeeze now all the way back up to the IB high, which is right up here, you will make another 200 points. And even on one micro, that is an extra $400. All right, so lock some in, let it work, but do not fight it. All right, so just a recap of what we talked about today. In the room, we talked about that short around the 700 on the H1. Right, I was away from my desk, as you know, we got a huge sell. And then on the live stream, we took this bear flag breakdown and this bear flag breakdown. And then I said, do not short the lows. We will wait and see if it gives a new bear flag, which it didn't. This bear flag became a trend up because too many shorts got stuck at the lows, like we talked about. Too many shorts got stuck down here. We have a breakout, and now we've repriced all the way to the IB low. All right, everything we talked about on the live stream has happened. Now you must be patient, all right? We are at a very, very key level. Look how many key levels are here. IB low, lower time frame. This green line is your VWAP, and then you've got bid support from the flow zones, all right? So this area here can chop. It can cause liquidity, or it can just flush, or it can just squeeze, because here you have multiple time frame traders fighting against each other. The easy trade, all right, the way you must be trading, if you're trading from home, you are not an investment banker, you must be trading the momentum. One momentum, two momentum, three momentum, one momentum up. Don't be fighting this, all right? Don't be guessing a short here. You might get lucky and it might puke all the way back down, all right? You might get this move off the IB low for a reprice, but there's nothing to tell you to do that, all right? And if you get stuck, you're gonna feel the pain because the best money in the shorts happened already, all right? We got a really, really nice move down today. It's already happened. And we have some anomalies in the market. Remember, we have that Apple event going on in Cupertino, which will start in an hour and 15 minutes. So Apple had been risk off this morning while tech had been strong. That might well change, especially if Apple starts to reclaim 220, which has been a key level for it for ages now. All right, and if you want to peep the QQQ, like we talked about, it held that key level of consolidation into close on Friday, and it is repricing up. The VIX, all right, the VIX failed the breakout. We talked about it. It would need to get through 2140 to trigger a squeeze. It got to 2125 or 22, and it failed, and it's now rotating back down towards its low of day and IB low. If you haven't already, guys, drop me a like on the video. It will really help the algorithm on YouTube to let people know that this is a good stream. Okay, so you're looking for the same thing here. Can we get continuation, or are we going to roll over? So a continuation is this flag, all right, and a breakout and a squeeze up. The rollover will be using this liquidity, which is why I'm saying be cautious. We'll be using this liquidity, and the easiest play will be under all of these for a rotation back down towards this zone, and you need to be aware of all these levels. All right, so I don't like trading mid-range on the day, which is where we currently are. If you go from the IB high to the IB low, we're currently mid-range. We are bullish in lower time frame momentum right now. Okay, we are bullish in momentum. So the easiest plays are longs right now. But it would have been much nicer if it did this pattern down here, but we don't always get what we want, especially when shorts get trapped. Okay, so this flag looks like it's going to play out and extend right now. And there's very close to all this information, so it looks a bit cluttered, but here is your flag for extension. So if you're taking this, right, you need to be having good risk reward, and you need to be taking a partial for this here as your break of structure. If we fail this IB, then you are going to get flushed out. This is why I'm saying I'm not going to trade in this area here. I want to wait and see. I want it to prove to me that it can get back above the IB low. And the algos. It is looking good though, we'll say that. Pullbacks are holding. You are making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Extension through this breaker structure would be a new higher high, and it will signify that we're going to reclaim the IB levels. There you go. So if you took that, please take a partial. Okay, and then move your stop up. Right, your stop can be below here if you did not take your partial, but I'd much prefer if you took that entry around 93, just move your stop up break even. You have already made 20 points on that move again, 22 points. And then leave the runner on. See if it can go and reclaim IB high. If it's really going to prove itself, which is what I'm waiting to see, if it's really going to prove itself to do a range rotation, it will need to print and stay above that IB low. And currently all we've done is wick through it, which is just why I'm being a bit hands off. I'm also watching the H1, all right? The reason I'm not interested here personally is this H1 level has repriced this previous candle. Remember we talked about up candle, down candle, reprice. Here is your point of control. So the biggest volume on today is in and around the area we are at right now. Okay, so this is a huge area of interest, but it does not have a universal direction bias. We are trend up bull and liquidity build. And actually higher time frame, daily, weekly, we are bearish. So that runner is starting to pay off for you now if you took that. So new breaker structure now would be above this wick, right? Above this wick, be a new breaker structure, a new high. So you have a bid on the book down at 600. He's looking to get filled. And you still have that seller all the way up at 750. I do not know if we get there, but he has been on the book all day. Here is a new break of structure for you, okay? Looking very, very good now. Reclaim the IB high. We have reclaimed the lower time frame algorithms. We are holding the flow zones. How much easier was it to wait for the longs once the flow zones flipped, all right? Rather than, oh, I'm trying to get long here and long here and long here and long here and long here, and you blow up. Short, 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 long, 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 long. Very simple. Very, very simple. Do not fight it. For those just joining, you can do a 20-hour course. You can join my Discord community and you get this flow zone indicator with signals and another flow zone indicator, all from a one-time fee. Right now it's on sale if you're watching on YouTube. Click the link down below, use code YouTube. It's a one-time fee, $3.99. You get the course, you get the indicator, and you get Discord. Course is 20 hours long. It is a very, very in-depth course. Even if you know absolutely nothing, it will teach you everything you need to know. Lots of guys in this chat right now have done that course. Some of them complete newbies and are starting to become profitable. Some of them with years and years of experience who are looking to turn their careers around or just learn more in-depth knowledge. Right, so here is your pullback, all right? So this old level here that we broke out from, this block right here, right, becomes key lower time frame. Need to be holding into this block lower time frame. These are the algos are here, the VWAP is here, the momentum cloud is here, and the last set of buyers were here. So this is the low that created our breaker structure. This becomes key for continuation momentum. So all the time dips are holding into this. You are looking for continuation. Now, the only caveat to that, again, that I talked about is this IB low. And we are at the midpoint and the point of control. but I'll probably trade for a little bit longer into this lunch. You're going to get a new hourly bar in just under 7 minutes. We'll see how we pin this bar. Now, I'd imagine we will close pretty much where we are on purpose, and then we'll have to wait and see for a reaction. But just ask yourself, if you've traded today, you know, did you have a game plan? Did you follow that game plan? Did you take that long off the morning push into 700? Did you follow it? Did you take the short once we failed it with some conviction? Did you ride it down? Or did you fight trend? Did you start entering without a game plan? Were you taking random entries? Ask yourself those, journal those things, try and fix them. Yeah, I know I need to do that, but I'm not going to. The guys in the room are very, very aware of how I trade, and I'm not trying to force sales by being like some of these other traders. All right, if you're a serious trader, you'll understand what I'm doing. You either do the course or you'll do someone else's, which is also fine by me. I'm not trying to be Patrick Wyland or someone else. There are lots of good traders out there, not just me. There you go, continuation upside, new flag, new push, new extension. Stick with it. Hey, liquidity on the book, still trying to drive upside. Most of tech still green other than Google, which is a couple points down, and Apple as well. People are waiting for that Apple event before they would start buying that. They want to see projections on the iPhone 16, I think it is now. Okay, so you can do a new channel here. Can think about this as a potential channel. Right, if you zoom out, if we are going to do a very, very horrible bullish move today, we will complete this and do something like that. Big if. The squeeze is definitely set. Shorts definitely got trapped at the lows. Nothing seems to change. They don't learn. Taking shorts at low of day is very, very dangerous. Very nice. You can see this is pure squeeze right now. Shorts really, really stuck. Momentum really starting to push upside here. So if you go to an M15, we are repricing an old gap on the M15. I can show you if I flip over. All right, we're repricing this where we had that failure from. All right, so in terms of structure on an M15, we are bearish because we broke this low, which created this high. Right, so on an M15, this is what I mean about liquidity build and counter trend. We are doing this. So this here is still bearish until it takes this out technically. So it might want to move down and take that out, or it's going to do what I'm convinced we're doing today, which is building liquidity. What's up, Hector? Good to see you. So again, you are continuing to look for longs all the time. Price is telling you to do that. You are now extended from the flow zone. So I'm not thinking about longs up here. Okay, we are looking for continuation patterns, flag, 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 like we have talked about. If we're extended, it is because we are squeezing, okay, and we are more likely then to have a moment of a flush point. So market might want to do something like this and then come down. So you do not want to be chase, 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 because if it only does a small one, you're going to get hammered while it comes down to find bid support. I can't see any bid support on the tape. All I can see right now is that 750 seller. If you wanted to do a new channel, you could do something like that, lower time frame. So just got to be patient here. Hopefully some of you took those longs, all right, especially on that IB low reclaim. Once we pushed above it, pulled back in and held that third drive. This drive here was the one that was very, very nice, because that's after we reclaimed that IB low, which is that key area. And that's risk reward wise was very, very good. Think about a long here, risking that wick. Okay, you could have got 3R fixed risk reward and you can still hold a runner here. So you're up 30 points on that trade and it's starting to extend. So if you took that, please move your stop up. Move your stop up, you are in a squeeze. You will be very, very upset if this starts to roll all the way over. Okay, so the algo is now trying to drag them up. So we now have sellers in front of 50 and above 50. So that 650 is going to be key, which is where we had that old sell signal, all right? So this is where sellers came in the market once we flushed, consolidated. So if you think about drop, base drop, this is where they came in. So this right here is key. It is also the M15 imbalance that I just showed you on the higher time frame. All right, so where did we drive up to? Into the M15 imbalance. We now have a new hourly candle as of this minute. So where we can go in this candle is key. Are we going to print above the last candle close, which is 44? Are we going to come and retest the point of control and where we flipped it at 604? So those are the levels of interest right now, 44, 604. And you're into lunch now, so you are going to get volume drying up, but you will get people starting to trade Apple as we get closer to the announcement. Very strong trend here. Do not fight this, guys. Do not be trying to pick the tops. Do not think we're going to have a double top and you're going to come in and slam it. You must not fight what is in front of you. Have your areas of interest, no problem, right? Mark out the areas of interest. Wait to see the reaction. If you are convinced that there's going to be a short setup, okay, then you need to wait for the market to give you a signal to get short, which should be something like this, right? You cannot be short, 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 short all the way up. That is the most common mistake that I see traders make, right? Be patient, all right? You are either in this long right now from the flag break and reclaim of IB low and enjoying your profits and letting it work, or you should be flat, all right? You should not be short in this right now. At least that's how I trade and what I teach. If you disagree and you want to keep getting squeezed, go ahead. Should probably say this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm teaching you how I trade, how I like to teach, how I have found success in the market. All right, and it is definitely not from being front side. Just think about this. This has been sells all day. And from this moment here, it's been buys all day. So there's no reason yet to start thinking about sells. The market to go into a sell. Or if it is ready, it might not go into a sell today. Yeah, Coop, send it, man. Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. So someone from my room in chat saying top step is probably trying to short. They probably are. They're probably short at the bottoms and they're probably short now. Who knows? Who knows? Hopefully you guys are not though. All right, it will become obvious if there is a short play because it will set up lower lows, lower highs, and it will start to fit the flow zones. But right now, okay, if we just think about where we are in liquidity building phase, and we are going to do that between the high time frame algo, the lower time frame algo, and between the IB low and the IB high. So in here, the market likes to rotate. So we might come all the way up and we might pull back a bit. Maybe we break out and go. Fantastic if we do. I'm here for it. I'm also prepared that we might just fail, might just do things like this for a bit. Because the best plays have happened. You had nice plays this morning. You had longs out the gate. All right, look, buy, 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 buy. Reclaim the lower time frame algo, extension up into the higher time frame algo, and then we had a failure from the higher time frame algo, a sell signal, and extension down. All right, and now you've had the bid back up. So you've had 3 trends to join intraday: long, short, long. That's enough. You only need 1 good trade a day. Yeah, ES at IB high has really good relative strength today, ES. And it's not far from the 5-day moving average either, right? Which is a very typical mean reversion backtest, right? So if we're going to find weakness here, you might get an SMT where the ES takes out the high of day, which it has, and wants to roll over. If that rolls over, we will see a bearish pattern start to present itself here. But for now, you have to obey the structure. ES has taken the liquidity at the high of day, so it has done a full reversion, a full IB play from a failed auction outside the IB low, returned back into the IB low, and it has now taken out the IB high. Just like we talked about, what you could see in here. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go to ES. Okay, and you can put this on. All right, so here's your IB high. Let's make sure that's showing on the screen. Move this up for you. All right, so ES, IB high was set, IB low was set, failed auction underneath where shorts got trapped. Reclaim the IB low, drive up to the IB high. Now it's taken out the IB high, so now we have to see, can we sustain bids or are we going to rotate back down? That's how the market works. The market is either in a trending condition or a consolidating condition, all right? And we are either inside bars, inside IBs, or we are outside of them. The quicker you understand the difference, how that will make to the market, the difference that you must trade based on those principles, the more profitable you are likely to be. If you want to learn more, you can click the link underneath and do the course. There are lots of free videos on my YouTube as well, all about this stuff. So that is a full repricing structure now on the M15. We have filled that gap. and we are starting to see some sell pressure come in. So a micro structure here will be like this, okay, and a breakdown. This is the low that made this high, all right, so you must be watching that. Can we break down underneath? Until then, they're likely to soak. If it is going to set a trap, okay, it's going to take some of that liquidity and trade back upside very quickly. But momentum, lower time frame is bullish. How much longer is everyone on this stream going to stay and trade for? Do you need me to stay a bit longer? Would that be useful? So again, dips are holding, new creation of flag, nothing has changed, all right? Momentum is holding in these dips. Above this last down candle, you can think about extension, upside. All right, John's done. No, I started later. I started around the IB low being set, so about 10:30 market time. All right, so this flag's starting to play out now. So again, if you just took that after we just talked about it, partial on a break of structure or partial into this, remember you are into some very, very key levels here. So if you took that from 47, you're up 15 points. Look for the break of structure if possible. All right, don't be adding into weakness. You have done a very big move already on the NQ for this upside. ES is now back above its IB high. And if it can base here, the NQ has a real chance to then shoot for that high time frame algo, reprice its IB high. The only reason it isn't is because Apple and Google are a bit weaker, so they are heavily weighted in the NQ compared to the ES. Right, so ES has relative strength. VIX is under its low of day. It is under the IB low. And the Dixie is in a complete barcode sideways. No worries, John. Hopefully you had a good day, man. And see you tomorrow. And the room will be back to normal as of Wednesday when my wife's back from the Apple event. Yeah, struggling to hold a candle above that IBH. All right, it cannot hold a candle. I'm looking at the 10-minute. It's got 2 wicks above it and it's trading back inside. So you have to be cautious here, which is why I'm saying take a partial, lock some in, move your stop break even if you took that flag. If it's going to roll, it will do it soon. If it's going to trap, it's going to run you out and take this out before it does anything. All right, so don't be adding into this hoping for a trap. Take your partial, move your stop break even. No worries, Hector. Have a good afternoon. I got to sort my green screen out, eh? I only just see that. Oi. All right, ES again failing here at the IBH. We are extended. We have had a very good squeeze and grind up on the NQ. So the best play for a continuation long will be a very nice deep pullback with a trap. All right, so hopefully you got long on this one here. If you just hit that recent one, all right, you need to be taking partials like we talked about. But as long as it defends this low here, you're okay. All right, so this would be where you would get a lower time frame change of character, right? And this will be your lower time frame break of structure. So you should be long all the time. We're holding this for a break of structure push and taking partials in and around it and above it, and you should be stopping out below, and you should look to target these levels. So I think we've called now 2 shorts on YouTube, 2 longs. One of those still in play currently. So one I like the least, but the others all paid out. So I really need to see the VIX reject its previous low on the day and the IB low, and I need to see ES reclaim that IBH with some momentum to the upside. Because right now, there's nothing in this that I really, really love. Even the bonds are pretty much flat. The higher years are down and the lower years are up. Volume definitely drying up over lunch. You have a micro volume high down at 630, one above at 650, one above that at 690-ish, 680-ish. And that seller is still on the tape all the way up at 750. And he's got 267 contracts on the tape up there right now. Still staying bullish. It's still not broken down for a change of character, all right? But I do not like it if we just stay here too long, all right? I want to see this reaccumulation cause this squeeze, so a 1 try, 2 try, and go. If it doesn't do that, you will have significant volume in this area, all right? And if we start to break down under it, it can get nasty. Which is why we like to trade in better areas for rotations. Fortunately, this long happened very quick down here. It would have been much nicer if it gave a nice entry down here. Still holding, still got bid support. If shorts fail to take that change of character out, this will trigger the squeeze, because that's a 2-leg pullback which is holding, and it has put in a higher low there in the flow zones, in the momentum cloud. ES having another crack at getting through that IBH. Would really love to see NQ trade up all the way up to 800 today, which is where the 5-day is, and it's where Thursday and Wednesday's low of day is. That would set up a very nice model, even if it does it tomorrow on the weekly. Okay, so you are still either in a cash position or you are holding the longs that we took from here, or if you took it from here, you are holding a long. You are not looking for a short yet, okay? Everything is long on the lower time frame, and we are in a liquidity build between that. Keeps rejecting up here over and over again. All right, this is why I'm watching the IBH on the ES. It's the same level. Okay, but even from here, it's giving you scalping opportunity to the long side. Do not be taking this short, saying, oh, this is a range, 5-minute range to take short. That is not a nice play to take. You are way more likely to get squeezed. If you get lucky and you get flush, it is going to teach you bad habits. Big question is right now is this reaccumulation or is it the start of distribution on this session? More likely than anything, it is just going to chop during lunch until we get to that Apple announcement. That is definitely what the market is looking for. VIX now making new lows. That's a very bullish sign that we're about to trigger a little short-term squeeze up here. ES having a new attempt at a new higher day. Now, can NQ follow? We will need to see some momentum come in into the Mag 7. But this is looking pretty good. All right, need to see this squeeze out now. Do not want another failed attempt. Right, that's 3 attempts at the high. Need this to break and go. New 5-minute candle here. Actually quite like that dip and hold on that 5-minute. It needs to sustain bid action and push now. That might be the trap it needed to get extension. There we go. So we're going to start to go now for upside. There we go. Lovely. That's a beautiful 5-minute trap there off that open. Now you need to be taking profit where into that break of structure. Okay, be disciplined. Take the profit into that break of structure. Remember, you were long from 49. It's just printed break of structure above 67. It actually gave you 20 points there to the high. All right. Now move your stop break even, please, if you took that. All right. If you took the original play that we talked about down here, you can now move your stop up all the way under 32. So you should be nicely up here over 50 points from this flag play that we took above the IB low. 50 points is decent money no matter what size you're playing. Even with 1 micro, it's $100. You do that across 20 accounts, that's you $2,000 for the day. Fresh lows here on the VIX. Very, very nice. Beautiful. Really, really good. Hold on to this runner, please, because if you get this move to the higher time frame algo and the IB high, okay, it's going to earn you some nice money. Your change of character has not moved. It is still in the same place because this is the low that created this high, not this one. This is an internal low. It is this low. Structure is bullish. This is your range. This is your current range we're playing in. You must remain bullish until things start to change. Point of control. We've had so much volume. Point of control has now moved up, okay? And then you need to be aware of 86. All right, 686 is the H1 bar. All right, that is the open close where we had supply above it, but that level is key. So that would be 686 right here, just by the high time frame algo. So we are coming into levels of interest, which means I like buys less and less and less. Really, I wanted to be buying here and starting to sell into this. And then I like buys again once we are clean through all of today's action, because what I am now thinking about is, can price, right, do something like this? And I don't want to be buying high up without it reclaiming it in case it does something like this, back down into here, because it didn't give buyers much of a chance to get in. Still holding that trend line, still holding the flow zones, still holding current structure. Is everything making sense to everyone? I know it can be boring. I know it can be boring. That is just trading, all right? That is trading. It should be very mechanical and process based for you. It should not be over trading and jumping and screaming and all these things. It should be nice and relaxed. So potentially we have some tapering up here now. Let's get rid of this. Right, so the same way we found tapering at the bottom, if there's going to be a short, we're going to start to taper across. Okay, so extensions will get us through this to the levels. If we start to taper across, the market will start to consolidate. All right, it will start to do this. Okay, and this here builds up volume. All right, and when we build up volume, we use that volume. This becomes liquidity. All right, so if we taper in here, if we break down under, this is where all these guys get trapped, which is why you'll get a rotation down. If we break over, all right, everyone who got short in here is forced to cover. That's how the market works. All right, that's why trading ranges can be tricky when they're intraday like this, because what's happened now is the best shorts. All right, let's just think about this from the start. We were bullish on the open, right? We were bidding above gap and go above price, above close on Friday, and we bid it up Asia London. So we pushed up, buyers in control, buyers in control, buyers in control. They got their exit into the higher time frame level on the H1. Sellers took over, sellers in control. They made their money, smart money short from here. All the institutions short from here, short, cover. All right. Now we got squeeze where retail got short too low. Right. The same thing I'm talking about here happened down here. Retail got too short, too low, forced to cover, squeeze up, bid support, bid support, bid support above prior levels. All right. We might get this up here now, but it just depends how the market wants to use it. Does it want to use the liquidity to drive up? Is the narrative to come and take out the IB high? All right, this previous high of day, IB high. Or is the narrative that they did not get filled enough? This is nothing more than a squeeze, and we're going to break. Oh, and we're going to break down. Okay, so you always need to be thinking about if or situations. It is not the market's doing this. All right, all this bullshit I hear, the market's going to do this. The market will do what it wants, and it will present to you structures and patterns, and it's up to you to dissect those and build if or statements. So right now for me, we are bullish. and we are bullish all the time, it holds this. But if it starts to break down, if it starts to use that liquidity, I'm potentially looking for a short mean reversion back in. All right, really simple. And the more you can do that in your own head, the more you'll stop becoming overly biased. Yeah, so this is my flow zone indicator suite. So this is for students who do my course and come into the room. And it's the only way you can get it. It's for my students. So $399 right now with the code YouTube, one-time fee, 20-hour course, this indicator, another indicator, and the Discord room. All right, so a new break of structure now. Now we have a new change of character because this low created this high, all right? So this moves up to here. So your stops now move up to here. Your break of structure moves up to here, all right? Very simple. This is based on low time frame chart right now that I'm drawing this out. This is not based on the higher time frame chart. On an M15 chart, we are still bearish. Okay, but it is possible that the M15 just did a liquidity grab at the low to move up. Okay, so we're finding some sellers up here. If I go down to look around, make sure. So we have repriced this imbalance. Okay, we're repricing this old imbalance. Yes, looking very strong, very, very strong. 10-minute candles, no pullback on that 10-minute candle since that low of day. VIX now also looking very weak. Underneath the IB low, it has some volume imbalances on the 10-minute on each candle. So they are selling the VIX and they are bidding the market. So zooming out on the VIX. Coming down into possible areas of interest. So this will be Friday. So from really where we are now, we might as well call it 1960 down to 1880 is an area of interest on the VIX. That is where we found bid support on the VIX on Friday. So effectively, that's where the reversal came in. Okay, so look at this beautiful trend, still holding. Is there a reason to be short on the market? All those guys who short, they are absolutely in pain right now, okay? So where is the market heading to? Higher time frame algorithm, IB high. And above that, this bad boy, which would be a full mean reversion on a daily for continuation, giving the Bollinger Bands time to breathe. You'll also notice, those of you who are here on Friday, we talked about the old gap. All right, we talked about an old gap, and I'm just going to bring it up. This gap here on Friday, we talked about, can the market fill this full gap? It filled the whole gap, all right? This is an old weekly, or sorry, an old daily imbalance, which we filled, all right? It was filled this side, but it came back and back tested it, all right? So it wanted to see if buyers were going to participate, which they did, all right? So everything we talked about on Friday actually also happened. Okay, interestingly, on my ninja chart, we are like right into that higher time frame algo. So just must just be how they calculate it slightly differently. Thanks, Coop. Yeah, love having you in the room, buddy. Appreciate it. So really this is the strong low. You could argue this here if you really wanted to. But we are definitely seeing an attempt to taper. All right, now pay attention to this liquidity here. All right, this liquidity here is going to be important. We are going to see weakness. They are going to use it. Fresh lows on the VIX now. Dixie is approaching a shelf here. If the Dixie wants to snap, it has a chance to move a little bit lower into some structure into 101.426. Okay, and it definitely is looking like it is trying to distribute now rather than the flag, which looked like it was trying to build out. It might be starting to distribute, which would not surprise me in the slightest on the dollar. And if you haven't read it, Zero Hedge put out a very, very good article on the weekend on what we can expect in the economy if Kamala Harris gets in terms of inflationary pressure. Something that I've been talking about in the room for months now, and it's good to see someone with far more experience than myself. I really rate Zero Hedge. Thinking about it as well. So the first thing we can think about is a potential dollar sell-off. Okay, new break of structure here. Again, market still bullish. No reason to short. Hopefully you are still holding on to the runner from that entry at 650. All right, and if you took it even lower, even better. So really nice now. You are up almost 50 points. You're up 40 points, all right, into the higher time frame algo. Looking so, so good. So we are 5 for 5 on the day here. Here's your higher time frame algo tag. So if you have not taken a partial, take the partial. See the reaction on the higher time frame algo. Take a partial on it. So we have called 3 shorts today and 2 longs today, and none of them really gave any drawdown at all. Beautiful. Nice reaction off that higher time frame algo. So this is the end of the liquidity build, all right, that we have between a high time frame algo and a lower time frame algo. So this here is your liquidity build section. Notice we repriced the whole way up. And if you look at an M15, we have just hit the top of the block. Okay, so the M15 block right here. Okay, the body of the work. It's where we're failing, and it's where the higher time frame algorithm is. All right, so we should be taking partials into these levels, and please do not be looking to add up here. All right, we have done a massive move without a significant pullback. You have risk exposure on Apple. Remember, you have risk exposure on Apple. It is trying to approach that 2020 we talked about, and it's failing. So everything we talked about, you can go back in the stream and see. I talked about Apple will want to approach 2020, and if it can reclaim it, maybe we can squeeze. But I don't expect any big squeeze or reclaim to happen until we have that event, which is 20 minutes away. So for now, we are soaking off these levels. We are holding all these levels. But there is definitely a feeling of potential shift coming in here because we had this base. So you could argue lower time frame that we have had a change of character here. Pretty amazing, eh? Look at that higher time frame algo. No one else will teach you that. That came from a huge amount of back testing and forward testing and coding. You will not get that anywhere else, I promise you. I have never seen anyone put all the thesis together that I have. And that's not me trying to build myself up. It's just a very different thing that we have found as edge in the room and have built a system around it. And as you can see, it pays. We went from the lower time frame algo to the higher time frame algo. This section here, right, is the liquidity build section. This is where it builds liquidity, and it's why it trades from this to this. Question now is this going to be the trap for a squeeze up, or is this a back test now, lower time frame, right? And are we going to do a move down? So if this is a back test and failure, you will get something like this, potentially to this deep pullback as TP1, and possibly all the way down here. Remember, you're in lunchtime hours right now, so there will be a lack of volume. Okay, so this is the repricing. If you are going to change this to the tapering channel, all right, it is like this currently. Okay, so you see we move from steep, we're moving to across. This is something we went over earlier, and it might plateau and move sideways, and that's where you'll get that volume buildup. And I know there's been volume buildup here because it is being shown on the session volume profile on the H1. Because we are actually above value area high on the day. There is not much volume above 65, and point of control is at 61. So if we fail to print above here, all right, and enough longs are trapped up in here, in or on around 65, and we fail, they are going to be in pain. Just the same way we had the same move off the bottom. So we are holding this block in here, all right, this downward block, which is where I originally had this. This is kind of your range now. Really depends if short-term traders really want to come in and hammer this or not. But momentum, as you can see, is still bullish. Trend is still bullish. Am I a buyer up here? Nope. The buys have happened, all right? The buys have happened. Again, if you are struggling to see stuff, do you want to be a buyer up here? All right, ask yourself, do you want to be a buyer where we found supply? Not really, do you? It's not a good area to buy. It might go, but it doesn't mean it's a good area to buy. It's almost better to be later and let it prove itself to you that it wants continuation. All right, really simple. These are hard to trade. It was a W, we talked about it, but this is a very steep V-shaped recovery from, you know, almost 100 points there before really giving you a great entry. And it happens. Sometimes you get that in the market, especially when you get the tapering channels that we talked about where shorts get trapped, right? Once we tapered like this, once we broke out of this, it happened very quick. Okay, through higher time frame algo now, new break of structure. So now we can confirm this change of character will be here. And we are looking for the IB high. We are looking for the IB high. Nate Dogg, not worth the risk. Yeah, quite right. Not worth the risk. Yeah, totally. Yeah, the shorts don't learn, dude. Just peep the ES, please. We are getting very, very close to that 5,500 mark, which is also the 5-day. It is also the 5-day. if we get through that, all right, you're looking at previous day close up to 51, previous day high up to 33, all right. NQ's got a little way to go to get anywhere near those levels. Way, way, way up here. Don't expect us to do anything like that today. Yeah, shorts just don't seem to learn. They do not seem to learn that you do not short the lows. All right, you do not short the lows, especially when you're shorting the lows into a higher time frame area of demand. Like we talked about, that blue box. That blue box on the H1. All right, this is where they were getting short into and around here. Very dangerous, all these wicks. This was old sellers, became demand. Very, very simple. So hopefully some of you are still holding on to that runner, because it is going to pay you. Okay, just move your stop up with it. Underneath each change of character point, move the stop up with it. If you have enough size, reduce the size, take the runner, make that money and leave. All right, leave the runner on to try and take out that IB. But the moment you get that change of character or anything like that, just exit. Be happy with what you got for the day. So it just looks like recreation of flag over and over and over again for a nice grind up. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so once we break this structure, we can move the change of character up underneath. You actually have it there. I've got it slightly too high, so your change of character is now here. There we go. Lovely. All right, so you're just trending up, guys. You're just holding the runners here for that move up into the IB high. And that is a big take profit target. Not only because it's the IB high, it's also a key area that we broke down from on Friday. All right, so it's the Asia London low on Friday. See this gray box right here. All right, this was your sort of consolidation right here before the push up and breakdown. So any buyers that were in here for that squeeze up, they became sellers here. So we have to think, do we find sellers in this area again, right? On an hourly chart, do we find sellers there? Doesn't mean we're shorting in there. It just means we are aware that it's a good take profit area and that we might be wanting to look for short patterns to occur there. And if we get a short pattern, a failure pattern there, we can think about taking the short. Do not do what that other channel does and have a level and be like, oh yeah, I'm getting short here because it's a level without a setup. All right, that is why they are losing all the time. Don't be that person. Yeah, Ryan, I mean, remember how I talked about it and I'm just saying, like, we have to get through all those inside days, they're really, really hard. And we were just building liquidity all the time. And these are much more normal days. This is what the market generally feels like. Even this is it's an inside day, but it's provided some really nice clean trends. And this is a much nicer, easier market to trade. So you've got to know, like, when the market isn't trading like this, when it's doing these, you know, 100 point up, 100 point down, 100 point up, 100 point down in 1, 2, 3 minute candles, like, it's not really tradable. It's really not worth it either. You're just going to chop yourself up and get frustrated. And then by the time a day like this comes, you don't have the capital to take it, or you're lost your confidence or whatever, you know? So it's really good that you've been able to see that already. Yeah, scalping short in an uptrend is painful. Yeah. I mean, why do it, right? Like, why? Don't get me wrong, I've been that person. I cut my teeth on small caps, so always looking for that best possible entry. But it's not worth it. Okay, so microstructure wise, we have a new breaker structure here. You could argue that this is your new change of character. All right, I would say that's a soft high, but you could argue this. I still think it can hold all the way down to here. Right, we've gone into multi-time frame bullish right now, and the reason is that we're above that higher time frame algo. However, please zoom out on your charts. Look at the H1, look at the H4, look at the daily. Do you want to be longing because we're now this? Ask yourself, right? For me, nope. I do not want to be long up here. Doesn't mean I want to be short. It just means right now I'm not looking to take a new position long. Remember, we were long, and some of you hopefully still are, here and here. That's where we were long. Why get long up here when we're looking to take profit up here? All right, so we're up very nice. If you took this, you're up 100 points. If you took this, you're up 60 points. Beautiful. And ask yourself, do you need 15 contracts to make money in that? 1 micro, 2 micro, 3 micro is plenty of money in that move. Even if you took a mini, fantastic. But it's very hard unless you're taking 2 minis to then be able to take partials and let it work. You're welcome, Remus. I'm honestly glad that you found me. Because a lot of people are unfortunately learning from streamers teaching very bad habits. So happy to help you. And thank you for the kind words, means a lot. Okay, so coming into the IB high now, I'm just going to zoom out here so you can remember what we talked about. Here's your V-shaped formation. Here is the potential cup, all right? So if it wants to pull back, it might do it here for an extension. It might do it above for extension. It might do deep, okay? But this is why when we have the cup, and we're finishing the completion of the cup, we are looking to take profit into that extension move. All right, so new breaker structure. Now I'm confident to move this up. Is there a reason to get short? No, absolutely no reason to get short right now. And VIX continues to trend down, okay, well under the IB low now, under 1940. Just keep those guys in my room, especially keep an eye on the ES here, all right? It is into the 5-day level, especially the 5-day level that it printed until the New York Open. We are right there. We are right there. So in terms of a mean reversion, this can be completion for the ES. All right, if ES really wants to get going, it can attack that PDC and PDH. Beautiful, beautiful trade. Really nice. I'm going to give it a bit longer because I think some of you guys are learning a lot here, and we're right into that IBH and we're right into a new hourly bar and the Apple announcement. I am going to leave just after the top of the hour. So 20s will be a clear out. If we take 20s, I would expect a pop through that and a stop run. I do not know what will happen after that, if there will be sustained bids or not, but if we take out 20, I would expect a rather large stop run, so a nice big explosive move to the upside, because I do not see anyone on the book selling up there right now, which means probably just going to get triggered to stop out. But we will have to see. So 20.25, is that the high? Somewhere around there. So we're looking for market to take that out and trigger a little squeeze out to the upside. Now, if you have more than a few left, please take some partials into that potential squeeze out, okay? So if we sort of do this move, just take some partials into this, because you don't know if they're then going to use that liquidity to roll it. If they roll it early, that would be pretty dirty, but we will see. There is a micro volume high up there. 750, he is still on the book. Okay, that seller at 750, 18,750 is now up to 272 contracts, and above him 18,800 has 92 contracts on the book. Okay, getting very near that stop run move that we're talking about. Should happen very shortly for a squeeze through. Really don't want to see this fail. I mean, it is possible. Sometimes what they like to do is build some liquidity down here for a trap before doing it. But really, because we're coming into that new hour, don't really want to see that manipulation into it. I would much rather into 1 o'clock, sorry, I was looking at my clock because I'm in Los Angeles, so it's only 10 a.m. for me. Much rather see this just rip straight through. We are very, very steep up here, and they might go risk off into that Apple announcement. But you know, you are up well over 100 points on this play already, so you should have made some money and just be able to give it a little bit of room to do it. Should not be buying up here. Anyone new to the stream coming in now, when I'm talking about this squeeze, I'm not advising you buy up here. We have been long from 100 points lower. We are not looking to initiate new longs up here until this market can prove that it wants to go well above the IB high and do a trend day high. Yes, right at that 5 day. So it is finding a little bit of pressure at that 5 day as we expected, as we talk about in the room. Right, VIX is down to that support level. About 40 minutes ago, we talked about that support level that it was coming into. So 1960s down to 1890. All right, so it is right there. Doesn't mean it has to hold up. It is just an area of interest on the VIX. Dips are still holding. The flow zone is still holding. We are in a multi-time frame bull trend higher right now. We initiated these longs all the way down here. All right, so we're just looking for that final squeeze through the IB high, take a little bit more profit, and then see if we can hold a runner if it wants to do a trend day up, right? A trend day up, I would expect if it wanted to do it, the next target would be 18,846. All right, higher time frame target. Just gonna zoom in and make sure that's right. Maybe 18,820, somewhere around there. Those are the Thursday and Wednesday lows. So if we're doing a full reprice. So here we go. Can the NQ here get a nice squeeze up into the new hourly bar? So what we're looking for is a nice squeeze through here, a fast move through here for a stop run. No worries, Penny. Have a great day. Hope you made some money. Still building liquidity up here. So currently what that's telling me is there's not enough buying momentum and it's got to trap shorts to potentially do the move. So if it's going to run that liquidity, it's going to need some more shorts trap to do it. So that is the only variable here in which it might not have the strength to do it out the gate, because this is a new H1 candle. So I need to see this print higher instantly, really. Otherwise, I'm thinking about a trap. There we go. Here it's coming right now. The variable here is, of course, Apple. Okay, so we have a double top here. Would like to see this still get run. Change of character is still this low. Nothing has changed. This is the concern, that we are now into a potential Apple announcement which can really move the market. Apple is now above that 220 that we talked about. So if we are going to do this now and it's going to fail, it might need to trap shorts in under here, but I would not want to see it take out this level. You should not be initiating longs here. I'm only now talking to everyone who got long on this move and this move, all right? These were the longs we took. We are well in the money. We are not looking to add up here. We're looking if the market can trap shorts under this low and extend through. Why am I saying about a trap? Because the fact that it hasn't, okay, just done this, means it's got to build liquidity. The market moves up by shorts being stuck. Shorts can get stuck under here. So if it can do this, they'll stop out and they will trigger this squeeze here, which is what we're looking for. Hopefully that all makes sense. If we, however, trigger down and stay heavy under a change of character, not underneath this low, but underneath this low, that might signify the top is in. No worries, Coop. Have a good day, man, and I'll see you in the room tomorrow morning. I'll do a review at close today as well, as always. So still looking really good. All right, multi-time frame is still bullish. Our indicators are still bullish. There is no reason to be a seller up here. You are gambling if you are selling this high. You might be at a place of interest, but there is not a short setup right now. The short setup will have to show itself. So here is your wick trap underneath here. This now becomes key for me. Are we going to trade back inside for a squeeze out, or are we just going to dump now into the Apple announcement? No closure underneath that change of character. You should only be small size right here from those initial entries we took 100 points lower, all right? You should have locked in very, very good profits. If we start getting a snap here, you just take it off. It's really simple, guys. You've made really good money on this play to the upside. I'll give it another 6 minutes or maybe 10 minutes until we get to quarter past and see if it does the move. And I'll be closing down for the day. Really nice. So it looks like that trap might play out here if they can force the squeeze. Just logging onto the Apple announcement on my phone. So if you go to apple.com, it will be available there. Tim Cook is currently talking. This market would just be looking for reinvestment in tech. No talk of the car or anything like that. We want participation in tech to know that there's more products coming in tech, because that's where Apple makes a lot of money. No worries, Nate. Absolutely welcome. It's definitely finding some sellers up here. Every pop so far has not gone through, but I do expect us to make new high here. So Apple currently talking about a new Apple Watch they're launching with the new tech. Series 10. Market is likely to enjoy that because wearables are a big part of the P&L on Apple. There we go. So and just like that. So here we might get a squeeze out as we clear out these stops. So please take some profit in this squeeze out above the IB high, because this is where all their stops were. If it wants to fail now, it can, because it has achieved its goal, which was to run everyone out. So if you want to leave a very small amount on the table, you can of course do that. But we have achieved our goal here on stream. Our goal here was to get above the IB high and run the stops, which we did. We just popped it. Job done. Tim Cook is now done, and it's over to some other guys, probably from the Ultra team and stuff. I am done, guys. I hope you found this stream useful. Hopefully you took some of those winners with me. Hopefully some of you guys in the room today took that short at 700 that we called out. And then hopefully some of you got that bear flag breakdown. We took 2 bear flag breakdowns today. So I'll review the entries that we called live on YouTube. All right, we took this right here for a breakdown. We took this right here, and then we looked at getting long in here and in here. Okay, so 5 plays, 5 from 5 today. Really, really nice. Really happy with this. You can keep your bullish runner on. Okay, if we're going to extend up, you can keep that bullish runner on, but please just reduce your size, because this is a monster move, and we have done what the market wanted to do, which was to take out the IB high. If Apple gives really strong sentiment, if tech can really get going, I mean, Apple is almost flat on the day now and it's above that 220, then we do have a chance to rally higher. The places where I'd be looking for the market to rally higher, for those of you who are holding some position, would be into these H1 levels. Okay, so This right here is a very, very key block on the H1. This is where buyers participated in, squeezed up, and we sold down from. This closure here at 47 is key, this top of the old value area high, all the way up to 63. So I wouldn't necessarily I definitely won't be looking to add anything, but I would be taking partials in and around these areas, okay? But for me, I would say the best moves have likely happened on the day, which is why I am done with the stream. Hope you enjoyed that. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button. I'm going to start streaming most days on the week now, probably a little bit after open, so I can trade with my room at the open. And if you want to do the course, if you want to learn to trade like me, if you want the indicator that's been on your screen all day, I have a one-time fee. It's $399 with the code YouTube. Okay, go to the website flowzonetrader.com. You will get a 20-hour course. It is extremely in-depth. You will get access to the indicator that you've been looking at today, plus another indicator that I use, and you will also get lifetime access to the Discord. One-time fee, that's it. No subscription model, nothing like that. Until next time, you know how I always end. Trade